Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. So for today's video, I want to talk about the worst dolls of 2022. It is about the end of the year. It has been a heck of a year in every way. And of course, it's been a heck of a year for dolls. I feel like every year is a heck of a year for dolls in some way. And so this is my second to last video that I'll be posting this year. I wanted my last video of the year to be the best dolls of 2022 because I figured it'd be better to end on a good note. But of course, I still have to talk about the worst ones because it's fun to have both lists, you know? Like, we gotta talk about the bad stuff, too. So, this is just gonna be my opinion. If you disagree, that is totally fine, and I would love to hear in the comments down below what you would say your worst dolls of the year are. I have 10 dolls on my list, and I do need to say that technically speaking, this might not be, like, my ultimate worst dolls of 2022, only because if I were making, like, the definitive I hate these dolls the most list, it would all be dolls that I don't have, and I feel like that's kind of boring and also kind of unfair for me to only include dolls that I don't have. So there are definitely still some on the list because, like, if I don't like a doll, I'm not going to buy it, or I'm less likely to buy it, so it makes sense that those would be on the list. But I do have 4 dolls on the list that I did purchase. So, I don't know, it's kind of muddy, I guess, the definition for how I was doing this ranking. I hope that this makes any kind of sense. But yeah, I wanted to include some dolls that I do have that, like, I had a bad experience with, as well as some dolls that I didn't buy because I didn't like the look of them, just to kind of make this a round and, like, fleshed out type of bad ranking. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. Hopefully, through the course of this video, you guys will know what I'm talking about. But before I get into it, I do want to say, if you find yourselves enjoying the video, if you could give it a like, that'd be cool. If you aren't already subscribed, if you want to subscribe for the new year for all of the new things that are to come, that would be awesome. I also have a bunch of social media linked in the description down below. Most importantly is my coffee. It's like a Patreon, so if you guys want to check that out, if you have a little bit of holiday cash to spend, it's really, really cheap, but if you wanted to support me that way, that would be absolutely amazing. So, with all of the promo and explanation and all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into my worst dolls of 2022. At the bottom of my list, barely making it into the top 10 worst dolls, is Rainbow High Costume Ball Violet. I didn't like this doll at all. I think especially compared to the other Costume Ball dolls, she was really under-designed. She just wasn't as exciting to me, but I do think that other people, if they are interested in her design, tended to like her. I didn't hear a whole lot negative in terms of, like, quality or anything like that. For me, she was just boring, so she barely made it onto the list. She's, like, number 10 because I don't think that boring is as bad as, like, actually bad, obviously, but I still really didn't enjoy her. Like I said, thought she was by far the worst of the Costume Ball line, so I felt it would only be appropriate for her to be at the bottom of this list. Next up, we have Mermaid High Spring Break Reina. This one is like a random one. I didn't buy this doll. I only have the one Mermaid High doll, Mari, from the first line, and that's kind of why I didn't like Reina. I don't like her design, like, at all anyway. She's just not my type of doll. But also, Spring Break was the only other line of Mermaid High after the original set of dolls, and I feel like Reina kind of replaced Mari, who obviously was my favorite from the first lineup. Like, she's the one that I bought. So I'm kind of bitter about it because not only do I not like her design, but also it feels like she replaced the more alternative doll and the doll that I was most excited about for Mermaid High. So this one's a little bit more personal, but yeah, Reina had to make it onto the list. Number 8 is going to be Shadow High's Nicole Steele, and I feel like this is probably a very controversial one. I think that when it comes to Nicole, you either like her or you don't like her, as far as what I've seen online, and I definitely do not like her. It's not that I think she's a poorly designed doll or anything like that. She's just definitely not my style at all. I think her hair is very pretty, and that's, like, the best thing that I can say about her. I don't think that the grayscale was particularly good on her, and her fashions just weren't for me. I don't know, overall she was definitely my least favorite out of the Shadow High lineup, so I don't want to say that I feel animosity towards her because, like, that's kind of dramatic. She is just a doll, but when I look at her, I do actively dislike her, so I felt it was appropriate to put her on the list. Number 7 is the Rainbow High collector doll, Maria Garcia. I did a whole video about why there was a lot of controversy surrounding this doll, and, you know, I've heard people from both sides of the argument saying that she's not that bad of representation, and people saying that she's terrible representation. I'm not, like, the most qualified person to weigh in on that because, like, I'm just some Caucasian dude, so I don't have a personal stake in it. But there were enough people saying that she was a poorly representative character for a character to, like, represent Dia de los Muertos and Mexican culture that I feel like that should be taken into account. Also, I just didn't like her design from an aesthetic standpoint. I just didn't think that the colors were super cohesive or very pretty. And she was so expensive. And I know I've talked about this ad nauseum, so I'm not gonna like bore you guys, but combining all of that, like the insane, unrealistic price point and the controversy and my personal feelings about her aesthetic, I had to have her on the list. Coming in at number 6, we have the Barbie Extra Deluxe. I think that there actually might be 2 of these at this point, so if there are, I'm just going to include both of them here. I have liked some of the Barbie Extra dolls, and I have disliked some of the Barbie Extra dolls. My general feeling on them is that some of the designs are pretty cool, but when you actually buy the doll, at least for me, I find it to be a very disappointing experience. They look good in stock photos when the designs are good, but when you have them, they just don't feel like as quality or as exciting as I would want for them to feel. Again, that is a very personal thing. This is a whole personal list. But I think that by far the worst of the Barbie Extras is the deluxe set. It's a good idea. It's an exciting idea that you could have all of these mix and matchable pieces and that pieces could be used for different functions. Like you could have something be a scarf or also a wrap skirt, for example. But all of the pieces are so ugly and they're just utilized so poorly. Like, it's such a good concept, but Barbie definitely Barbied it and made it just so terrible. So I had to put her on the list because you can see, like, I'm frustrated by her. So of course she had to be here. Number 5 is actually the first doll that I have to show you guys, and that is the Rainbow High Junior High Jade. You'll see this as a theme going on with the rest of this list, like the top half of this list, that a lot of these are the dolls that I do have. And I think it's because it hurts a lot more for me to be excited about a doll and then be disappointed by it than it does for me to just not like it. So Junior High Jade is here higher than Nicole because I knew I wasn't going to like Nicole from Shadow High. Like, I just didn't want to buy her. I didn't vibe with the design. But Jade, I really wanted to like. So, like, she's cute. The design's kind of simplistic, but she is cute. However, this was the first series of Junior High, so it was kind of like the first time we were introduced to these dolls being $25, which just didn't feel great. Like, I know, again, the price thing is something that I complain about very frequently, but having a $25 doll with no stand, no second outfit, like, I don't know, it just seems a little bit overpriced. And then beyond that, when I unboxed her, if you saw the video, her rooting is absolutely terrible. I don't know if my camera will focus because it doesn't like to focus, but she's got so much scalp. Like, I literally cannot style her hair in a way that doesn't show her scalp because she's just so poorly rooted. So for me, I was like excited about this doll. I wanted to have her, and then to spend all that money on her and have her be so low quality in some regards really hurt. And so that's why she's higher up on the list, because she was just not the most poorly designed on this list, but one of the more disappointing ones. Following that up, in number 4, I have another Rainbow High doll, and that is the Rainbow High Tiara from the Royal 3. This one I think is going to be pretty controversial because I know that some people really like her. Some people even have her in like their top rankings for 2022. For me though, it was just a really, really disappointing experience unboxing her. I do like the way that she looks, the way that I've styled her. Like, I think that this is cute. She's a cute doll. But again, if you saw the video, you will know that the unboxing experience was just so disappointing. It was like one thing after another that just kept going wrong, and it was really disheartening because I was so excited to open her. I had opened Tessa before her, so I was thinking that like the feeling that I had with Tessa would be similar to what I felt with Tiara, and instead it was just problem after problem after problem. So like, again, I like the way that she looks, but at least my Tiara that I got had so many quality control issues that the unboxing process made me like her less than I liked her when she was just like on the shelves or when she was just an idea in my head. So yeah, she had to be on the list because while I do think that aesthetically I have made her like look cute with the pieces that have quality that came with her, but for me, I can't look at her without thinking about that disappointment. So she's kind of like tinged with sadness, but she's still cute. She definitely made it on the list though. Number 3 is Mermaid's Harmonique from the original lineup, and I've been talking about this a lot lately because I've been reviewing the Winter Waves Mermaids dolls. Those are a lot better, I will say that. Like, this is no shade to like the more recent Mermaids dolls, but Harmonique was so disappointing. I love mermaids. I talk about that with like relative frequency on this channel. I love mermaids so much. So when mermaids first came out, I was so excited because like it's a mermaid line of dolls. How could I not be excited? And again, I think that she has a really, really pretty look. I think aesthetically she is quite pleasing to look at, but the quality was so bad and very similar to Tiara that I just talked about. While I was unboxing her, it was just like one thing after another that I was disappointed by, and that was really hard to get over. I disliked her to the point where I had written off mermaids as a brand entirely for like the better part of the second half of 2022. I only got the Winter Waves dolls and therefore kind of like was able to get back into mermaids because they were on sale for like half off their original price. If they had never gone on sale, I never would have even bothered trying those dolls because I hated unboxing this doll so much. She looks good on my shelf, but I don't think the quality is there at all. And again, I can't look at her without seeing that. So she's pretty, but she was violently disappointing and she almost made me like quit on an entire line. So she definitely deserves to be number 3 on the worst dolls. Number 2, I actually don't have, and I'm also cheating a little bit because this is an entire line of dolls rather than one specifically, but I think that's a valid thing to do here because it is the Art Squad dolls. These were so sad because I think the concept is really cool. Like art themed dolls, I like to consider myself like an amateur artist. I like to paint and draw and do all of those types of things. So I think this concept is really interesting, especially for kids. I think it's cool to be able to have a doll and also a creative outlet all bundled up into one. But when the dolls were revealed, they were so ugly. And it's just the face molds. I'm sorry, like I really am, especially if you guys like these. I'm sorry, just in my opinion, these are some of the most hideous dolls. The face mold is so off. It's very uncanny and creepy and like not what you want in a doll, to me at least. So these were a huge disappointment because I was so excited about them and I think that the concept of the dolls is so cool, but the execution was so bad. And I mean, at least in my area, these immediately went on sale. Like they have been on sale for ages, pretty much since right after they got released, and the shelves are still full of them. So at least in my area, it doesn't seem like people are buying these. Seems like people kind of agree with me about the fact that they don't look very good, which is a shame because like I don't want to see that concept shut down, but I just don't see how it could have been successful with the face molds that they went with. So this one sticks out in my memory. It was one of the first ones to come to mind when I was coming up with this list, so it had to be at number 2. And at number 1, we have the LOL OMG Missy Frost. As you can see, if you're familiar with this doll at all, I have restyled her a lot, and the way that she's restyled now, I think she's fine. I hope that at some point I can get some better pieces and maybe do a little bit more with her. She's not bad right now, but out of the box, this was a terrible unboxing experience. It might have been my worst unboxing experience of 2022, hence why she is in the number 1 spot. When me and my husband were grocery shopping and we saw her in the store, she looked really good in the box. They did an excellent job marketing this doll because in box she looked so good. But when I was unboxing her, again, you can like see the video and you can watch it happen in real time. I started out so excited and it just went downhill so bad. She came with a lot of fashions that you're supposed to be able to like transform and mix and match and do all kinds of things with. And the concept, again, was really good, but the execution was just so not good. Pretty much the only pieces that I ended up liking from this doll were her accessories. All of the clothes could be really cool, but they just fell slightly short. And yeah, I mean, you can see like she's not wearing any of her actual clothes. The hair is also really weird, like you can probably see, maybe. It's very, very frizzy. The metallic nylon is just like not the most well behaved. I don't know, overall, this was just, again, a very, very disappointing doll. And I think that she specifically was most disappointing for me because I bought her shortly after making my video about FOMO and about trying to be more mindful with my doll purchases. And when I saw her in store, I originally wasn't going to get her. My husband actually went back to get her for me because I couldn't stop thinking about her. So I like mulled over whether or not I was going to buy her. And I thought that I was making a good decision. So when it turned out that she was not a doll that I ended up liking, it was really, really heartbreaking because it had come off the back of me wanting to make better purchasing choices. and I thought I had, and then it turned out that I hadn't. Obviously, sometimes there's no way to know until you unbox a doll whether the pieces are going to be quality or whether you're going to like them, especially with LOL OMG, because you can't always see all of the pieces in box. So like there is some degree of mystery there. So I know that logically it's not my fault, but I think that that was just a very sour experience because not only was it something that I was excited about and then disappointed by, this was also a doll that kind of made me feel guilty for purchasing her because I was like trying so hard to be good, and then the first one, like right out the gate, was just not a good purchase. So yeah, she lingers in my mind as like the most disappointing one, and this is where I was trying to say earlier that objectively she's not the ugliest doll of the year. Like Art Squad should be above her in terms of like aesthetic for me, but in terms of like the emotional impact that a doll had, this is the one that affected me the most negatively, and so that's why she's going to be my #1 worst doll of 2022. Missy, I'm sorry, it's nothing personal, but that was a bad time. So there you have it, guys. That was my top 10 worst dolls of 2022. Like I said earlier, I would love to hear what your worst dolls would be in the comments below, and also your opinions on my list. Do you disagree with me? Do I have any of your favorites on there? If so, I'm sorry. But yeah, I would just love to hear kind of your thoughts and opinions, and guess which ones are going to be my top dolls of 2022. Like I said, that's going to be the next video and the last video of the year. So if you want to have any guesses in the comments below what you think those are going to be, feel free. It'll be a fun little game to play. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.